So, what do mystical experiences have to do, or what part do they play in your spiritual journey? Well, if you are mystically prone, so not everybody is, and it doesn't have anything to do with how realized you can become having mystical experiences, but I'm mystically prone. At least I was for the first 20 years of my journey from my very early 20s. And it was this, I don't know, sort of a doorway that was open for me that where I felt supported. Do you feel supported at times? If, by unseen forces, by a guide, maybe in your dreams? I'm talking about mystical support, not just loving, wonderful, in the flesh human being support, which can be magically brought into your life for sure, by grace. But there is a whole unseen reality that really exists at multiple dimensions of reality. And for some reason, some of us, and you may be one of them, are open psychically or energetically to different dimensions. For me, it came as gifts, I think, to keep me interested and on the path and in open and trust to the fact that there really was and is mystery here. And I would get guided in my dreams. Perhaps you have some dreams that are where you get guidance. Now and then, something really amazing seems to happen, maybe in a meditation. Maybe you're visited by a being or by an energy of grace that you can just feel. Because we have so much invisible support, whether we're sensitive to it or not. There's so much support. And I think sometimes we're not open to a mystical reality. And it's not by accident, because I had times where it closed down and I was meant to learn how to lean on the interiorness without any so-called external support. I'm sure it was still happening. Even being left alone was part of the intelligence, part of the support, because we have all this support for us to remember our true nature, to come back home. We really do. It's like the universe is singing in support for us, even in the hardships. I know it's hard sometimes to believe that fully, but even when it's hard, there's growth that's happening, as painful as it can be. And I'm not talking about when there's serious hardship and tragedy, that is all pre-planned or meant to be per se. I'm just talking about ordinary hardship, loss, even, that help marinate us and help break down our resistance to letting go. And part of the reason why sometimes mystical experiences take place, and we may have visions, we may just have a sensation of a visitation or grace, like I said earlier. Part of the reason that happens is for us to be able to learn how to let go in trust that there's something greater that's got us, that's holding us, that there is intelligence to the universe, and that we're not all alone. And for me, it would kind of flow where I would have lots and lots of mystical experiences and even some visions. And for me, they were real. I completely feel like they were real and are real. these beings. And there was a time then where everything went quiet, and it was like, where did you go? All my guides, my my beings, my support team. Where did you go? And it was meant to help me stop, to wean me from relying on outside support. It's like you've got you've got it now. You've got maybe some sea legs, a little wobbly, but it's time to get quiet and still and stop needing that kind of support in order to have you gain faith that there really is, oh, so much mystery here that is in support of you. But I don't think it's only that. I think that some of us are just sort of mystically oriented. I don't know, just sort of antennas. And there was, for me, lots and lots of dreams, like I said, and support for years, for years. And then it's kind of like, I was meant to come down to more nitty gritty. Okay, it's not just about feeling good, having experiences, learning how to trust in the divine, have the heart open and be marinated with knowing that love is here. Well, all that is just so wonderful when it happens. But there's also this like sovereignty and this learning how to stand on your own that needs to take place on your own 2 feet. And very intelligently, I was weaned of that kind of, fascination, I guess. And for me, there's still absolutely is a whole mystical world and reality that exists. But it's not, I don't need it so much anymore. Now and then it's like there's a little reminder, like a friend visiting, kind of. And I definitely feel supported. I feel supported even right now speaking with you all here. I feel guided to share. I couldn't do this alone. I really couldn't. But the realization and the non-dual understanding for that primary realization had to be done alone, because there needs to be an understanding that is complete and whole upon itself and doesn't come just through grace. It's through something that is ready inside and realizes our true selves. And nothing from no beings, no wonderful support can give that to one. They can give this, the guidance, the help clear energies, help prepare the body and mind, and alongside of your own work. It's not all that everything gets done for you. It's more that when life sees our sincerity, it meets us and wants to support. So I was very sincere. I'm just using myself as an example. So I was very, very sincere. Sat in meditation for hours, often. And the doors of perception opened, and the world was glowing, through Shakti raising up, Shakti, Kundalini came up. And when these centers get illuminated, oftentimes there can be a corresponding mystical experience through that. For others, it doesn't happen that way. And I think it's all very intelligent. It's not like, oh, for those who it happens to, they're more special. I don't think so, because I've actually, I know it's not true. I've seen people who are incredibly realized and awake, and they didn't have this kind of experiences. So it's kind of like I remember Adyashanti once saying to me, "Oh, you're mystically wired. You got the mystical doors open." And he did. He said he didn't. So it's really individual. It might be past lives. That's my feeling. You know, who were you connected to in the past lives as teachers, and what kind of maybe efforts did one make that opened certain doors of perceptions because it was important to one? I mean, everybody has their path and paths, you know. Look at the Tibetan Buddhists, full of mystical realities. The whole idea of bardos, the whole, you know, maybe fact of bardos after one dies. And even I believe the bardos are here now, this states of consciousness that are so believed in, hell realms and heavenly realms right here, right now. And in those hell realms and in those heavenly realms, there are energies and beings. I'm not saying so much in the hell realms. I'm not afraid of the hell realms. Hell realms is just our ignorance. It's ignorance. We put ourselves through hell. So, you know, and they have all these beautiful, beautiful statues and images of all these gods and goddesses through all, you know, all kinds of traditions. And I'm kind of partial to some of them, you know. Maybe you are. You have your favorites, or maybe you're just like Zen guy, you know, non-duality. It's all imagination, all that stuff. You know, that's you do you. It's all fine. I'm not trying to sell anybody on anything. I'm just wanting to speak to the fact that they can intermingle and do to where we realize our true nature and we can be mystically oriented. Or we realize our true nature, our true selves. And that's just that door, that doorway, that just not there. It's just like here now in this, what's right here. And chop wood, carry water, you know. For me, I'm much more just here now, but it's so rich and like the fabric of existence is so textured. And I do feel the support of those beings, and I can lean back anytime and receive that support. And, you know, as long as there's not an unhealthy reliance on being saved, on wanting to be, you know, for the work to be done, and or thinking that one is progressing only because there are all these different types of experiences. I mean, the addiction to experience has got to end in order to be free. So in the end, all that has to disappear for a while. It did for me. It just like they all took a hike, literally. And it was because I was meant to be sobered up at one point. Like, okay, enough of these lot, you know, you mystical girl, you. I had a real sense of presence for sure because of it, felt sense and stillness. But they took a hike, all these mystical experiences, in order to get sobered up, to not rely on anything external, or the idea that it is an experience, that realization is an experience to be had, because realization is actually the absence of a particular type of experience. First, one realizes the absence, the emptiness inherent in all things, including here, no person here, no me, no separate self in it that is does not exist, the separate self, no ego, no nada. And then over time, there was a movement after a few years of really resting as that understanding. And then the movement out came to that unified, and it was spontaneous. There was no doing. It's like, oh, I'm nothing. and I'm everything. The everythingness came in. And that's really when the heart opened. The heart opened to knowing a self that I'm everything, or this is everything. I am not the separate self I, that the vastness is everything, is that everything is source. It's empty and it's full. And it's not an experience, and it's all experiences. But first, one has to open to it's not an experience. The addiction to experience has got to end in order to be free. So the mystical babe, the person that's or male, you whoever you are, that loves the mystical, I don't blame you. I was one of them, you know. I've had so many visitations, Hanuman, Ram, Shiva, Mother Mary, Christ, Nimkoli Baba, of course, Padmasambhava. I mean, anyone that I put an attention on, I felt a connection to. There's others. But we have our team or whatever, or not, or we're just really meant to be sobered up in this lifetime, the whole lifetime, not one mystical experience, or maybe just a few to, little Hansel and Gretel crumbs. Whatever it is, it's perfect. It's just the way it's meant to be. And the only time that it gets in the way in the end is if there is not a letting go. And we're just hungry for yet another experience. And it's not only mystical experiences one could be hungry for, it's life experiences, right? Awakening experiences, feeling a certain way, feeling the bliss, feeling the high of it all, which is going to bring the low. But realization is not an experience, right? So we get weaned, and that's also a grace, is to be weaned and have that all go out. So now, if any kind of aha, or very rarely for me, honestly, very rarely. And I don't really miss it on it. I feel it's just a hairbreadth away, any support if it's needed. And actually now I feel like the support is in the teaching and in a prayer, when I make a prayer for someone, I pull on that support. I pull on it and use it to strengthen a prayer for the well-being of others, well-being of someone I love, the well-being of Mother Earth. I put a lot of intention, and it's not just my intention, it's the intention of that which loves its creation. So there's no more separation here between, anything, but still there's the fabric of existence is varied. It has uniqueness to it as well. Even in these in other dimensions, these beings have their own unique imprint, even though they completely know that they're one with the whole, and we're unique, right? So there's no more confusion here or wanting something. And if a mystical experience comes in, because that would happen only because it feels like there's a reason for it. Well, it's been fun. I wanted to just talk a little bit about the mystical nature, in case it speaks to you at all. And if it's something that hasn't really taken place and for you, I think that that means that this life is more about learning how to be here and not be distracted, perhaps, you know. But hopefully you feel some type of guidance and you have a way of being able to learn how to trust in the divine nature so that you can actually let go, because trust really helps us in learning how to let go. Really helps. Okay, warm wishes to you.